The epitome of male vanity is in the summer. In the summer, in any town, you will see a man, an 80-year-old man, walking down the street in a tank top, or worse, no shirt at all, just strutting down the sidewalk like an expired rotisserie chicken.
Ain't that the truth? Well, comedian Tom Papa has earned a devoted following for his stand-up and its honest take on the trials and tribulations of everyday life. And while the stage is a great venue for that material, so too are the pages of a book. This week, Papa is out with his latest, We're All in This Together. Jamie Wax spoke with him about his corner of the comedy world.
I travel a lot. Oh, that's tough to take, my friends, when I don't get the upgrade and I'm jammed in coach between two sumo wrestlers in tracksuits, eating pretzels like a praying mantis for 6 hours.
Tom Papa is known for his deeply funny, deeply observed truth-telling about contemporary life.
For me, a good day now is any day I don't have to retrieve a username and password.
Which occasionally puts him at odds with some contemporary comedy trends.
People seem to be chasing edge. You don't really have an edge except for honesty.
Yeah, the thing that people remark about all the time is that I'm not as cynical as comedians typically are. But I don't live that way. I don't want to be cynical. I want to be hopeful. Through the times and where we're at right now, actually being hopeful is edgy.
You ever go to a party with grown-ups you kind of know, and they're just regurgitating things they've said for 50 years? How's work done? Still $1 million shy of being a millionaire.
Papa credits his early days in New York clubs for helping him find his authentic voice, where he frequently followed comedians with a different style than his own.
I would come up there with my tweed jacket with elbow patches and try and be Dave Attell. And I would try and tell dirty jokes. And I remember a couple nights, some people looking at me like, what are you doing? Like, what are you trying to be? I think that's the whole key to comedy is don't be a fraud. They know when it's not you.
Papa's comedic voice led him to a string of successful projects.
We're all fat. You're either really fat, kind of fat, or trying not to be fat.
Including stand-up specials.
If this were MTV's Cribs, we'd say this is where the magic happens.
Yeah, baby.
Radio and podcast series, multiple projects with director Steven Soderbergh, and hosting the first TV series after Seinfeld from friend and fan Jerry Seinfeld.
They're not going to have a fight. They're in love. Look at them.
The Marriage Ref.
A lot of people recognize me from the show. I felt like it was Jerry's vehicle and I was kind of along for the ride. I was a co-pilot, you know? But I always say my biggest break in comedy was meeting Jerry. I was on stage and he was just coming back into the clubs and he called me over to the bar and he's like, "You're really funny." And I grabbed onto his coattails and never let go.
Papa's own coattails go back to Passaic, New Jersey, where he was making people laugh as early as kindergarten.
What did you think you were going to be? Did you see this life for yourself?
The summer of 7th grade, I heard 2 comedy albums, Steve Martin, Let's Get Small, and George Carlin's Class Clown. And that was the first time I realized that being funny could be a job. And from that point on, that was it. I thought, I'm going to go do that.
And he did. The comedian has 5 specials under his belt and has written 3 books. His latest, We're All in This Together, is made up of 37 heartfelt and hilarious essays on modern life.
I feel that your new book, it is a sort of a tutorial on how to be a human.
It is. This book really is my realizing there's a manual to how to live and jotting down how I've lived by it in my life. And maybe you should pay attention to it, too.
Many of his stories on the page and on the stage include his family, especially his wife of 23 years, Cynthia, a talented comic and improv artist in her own right.
Let's do it right now.
Let's do it.
Hello, Mama, Papa.
Roll with it.
I'm back in 3rd grade.
No, it's nice out.
The couple met 25 years ago while performing in New York.
I know people talk about this, but there was like an electrical charge. Like I felt something completely different when I met him, and he says the same thing.
You know, I just found out my wife doesn't like when I read.
You started talking about her very quickly.
Yeah.
She thinks, oh, he's bored. Let me tell him a story about my sister at work.
Was that good with you?
Well, in the very beginning, I was still performing, so I was talking about him. So I'm used to it. It's actually stranger for me to hear people who listen to him on the radio or the podcast.
They've been following our family, and sometimes I think, oh, should I talk about them anymore? And then people come up after a show and they're like, so how's everybody doing? What's next?
My daughter came into the kitchen. She said, Dad, we're trying to watch a movie in the other room, and we can hear you breathing.
And of all the material Tom has created from their shared experience, there's a chapter of the new book that holds a special meaning to his wife.
There is a section in the book called Will You Go Out With Me? And that's very personal to you.
It is personal to me because it's sort of, I don't know. There are certain essays that feel like love letters to me. It is both our philosophy on how relationships should be cherished, and I hope that our girls actually take it to heart as well.
Yeah, a little romance.
A little romance.
Everything's so cold and calculated, and you're on social media and using dating apps, and it's like, no, go meet their parents. Take your time, be patient.
And like every great storyteller, Papa knows how to end on a powerful note.
One of my favorite things in the entire book is incredibly simple, right at the end. And I'm going to paraphrase, but it's basically that the goal is to live a good life.
Yeah.
What is that definition to you, Tom?
You want to feel when you leave the room, when you leave this planet, that things were a little better because you were around, right? This is all temporary. Don't mire yourself in aggravation. Be with good people, try and make them happy, have some laughs, and you'll be all right.
Thank you so much for coming.
CBS Saturday Morning, Jamie Wax, Los Angeles.
Thank you so much.